Good morning everybody, Wycliffe Barrett here from X-Plane Dedicated, and today it's a different vlog. I'm going to be flying the Aerobask Epic E1000. It's just been released a couple of weeks ago and I'm really excited about this aircraft because it makes general aviation flying a little bit quicker than normal. It will fly at just over 200 knots. It features some of the most incredible glass cockpit hardware and software I've seen in a GA aircraft for quite some time. Features the Aerobask G900 multi-function flight display, which has two large screens, one on the left, one on the right, and on these screens are all the engine and systems information that you require, as well as a primary navigational display. Very brightly coloured with lots and lots of information in there. It's really quite confusing. In the centre of the glass package you've got a multifunctional panel which is for flight planning, and any of you who've used flight planning tools such as in the other flight simulator and X-Plane will be very familiar with this. You'll recognise it almost immediately. There is also a Meggitt autopilot system which is slightly different from what you may have been used to, but once you get your head around it, it works perfectly fine. And then to complete the whole package you've got the Garmin GMA 350 radio system. So the cockpit, the front of the cockpit is very functional, lots of information on display, sometimes a little bit overwhelming, but when you get used to it and you get used to reading what's on the multifunction displays and the flight displays, then it all makes sense. Here we are then at General Aviation Parking at Cardiff Airport, and as you can see the external modelling is absolutely beautiful. We need to get rid of the chocks and the covers on the propeller and the pitot tubes, and you do that from inside the cockpit. We're just going to have a brief look around the cockpit, see the glass reflection, absolutely wonderful with this wraparound glass cockpit, and the three big screens in the middle there dominating the cockpit bulkhead. So to remove the covers you need to click on covers, CD and flags, and they're removed. As you can see, they've gone from the propeller. Hopefully here you should be able to see everything, and what we're going to do, we're going to start up, and so it's a case of turning on BAT 1 and BAT 2, and you see everything come on live there, and at this point you can hide the yoke, which I've done, and click on the strobe lights. I know it seems strange putting on strobe lights so early, but that's what we do. Left fuel pump or the right fuel pump, whichever tank has got the most in. I normally click on the left fuel pump and then we're at the start procedure. You just need to check your levers, so you need to make sure that that is idle, and prop is, it does say prop full, but I kind of put it halfway, and you just click on the start button and wait until it gets up to 10 RPM. It's going to get a bit noisy and we can see the propeller moving now. It's beginning to fire up. Once we've got that fired up, we then turn on the starter generator. Once that's started, we click on igniter, make sure that the condition lever is at ground idle. Then we press the starter generator button and the avionics button to bring everything up and on.
Check engine.
Press the autopilot master switch and the trim master switch on the switch panel.
Check engine.
Ensure you that you press the pressurization air
engine,
and then press fuel auto select, and as you can see now we're into the flight planning stage.
Engine.
You can hear check engine going away there, but it's
check engine.
that only goes if you push the condition lever almost to the maximum. Nothing's happening, it's not a problem, but you can
engine.
you just go through that. You can see what we're doing here is we're entering the flight plan, and I just wanted to fly from Cardiff up towards the North Wales and then back again. Now if you've used this kind of GPS system before for entering waypoints and VORs, then you'll know exactly what to do. For some reason I can't use the
engine.
main panel in the cockpit. And so what I do, click on the main panel, and
Check
this pop-up
engine.
comes up. And as the pop-up comes up, you can manipulate the different
Check
control buttons
engine.
to get your different waypoints. So I'm just inputting the flight plan here.
Check engine.
And the way you do it is that you press the center of the FMS knob
engine.
to show a cursor bar, and then you turn the inner wheel of the FMS knob to the
Check
right,
engine.
and a new screen will appear where you can enter a waypoint. Okay.
Check engine.
You enter your waypoint and you turn the
Engine.
inner wheel of the FMS knob again to select the first letter of your first waypoint.
Check engine.
And so that's how you complete the flight plan there.
Check.
I've inputted the ILS approach because there are no RNAV approaches available for Cardiff, although there should be. And we're just taxiing out to the runway now. You heard the gear going down. Now it really moves fast, or it seems to move faster inside the cockpit than it does outside. If you use an external view, it doesn't seem to move half as quick. So as you prepare for takeoff, turn on the taxi lights, make sure the throttle is in beta position, use the Alt knob on the PFD to pre-select our cruise altitude, whatever, and this can climb to 20,000 feet quite easily. We then have to prepare the autopilot device. You can see me doing that. Press the vertical speed button and put in a vertical speed. Then turn the heading knob on the PFD to turn the heading bug to obviously runway heading. On the switch panel, press nav and land to switch on the lights. Press the igniter again, and away we go. 80% NG. 80% torque, and release parking brakes, and away we go. When we get to 80 knots indicated, lift the nose off the ground.
Gear up.
And gear up. There we go. You notice the check engine call out has stopped. Now we've got to activate the autopilot. So you press YD button on the autopilot device to activate the yaw damper. Switch on the autopilot with the AP button on the autopilot device, and the autopilot will follow the heading bug, so flying in the runway direction, and then it will turn. So you press the CDI soft key on the PFD or MFD to select the GPS as navigation, and you can see we're turning towards Brecon here, having done that. And it's the usual stuff then. At 10,000 feet, switch off landing lights, and if you was climbing to 10,000 feet, we're not. Switch on the pitot heat button on the switch panel, switch on the defrost button on the climate controls.
Approaching altitude.
Approaching altitude. And there we are. Once at cruise though, they say reduced RPM to 1,450. Even when I've reduced the RPM, it's
Approaching waypoint.
it very rarely goes down to 1450. Very rarely, and I'm not quite sure why that is. Anyway, we're approaching our waypoint going north towards Brecon, and I think I've already turned around now, just flying over UK photo scenery here, looking at some of the external views. There are a number of external views already placed in within the sim. Back inside the cockpit, and I think I turned the volume down at this point. Just flying along here, and you can see the AL Pilot X HD mesh working to the best of its ability. Looks quite marvellous at this point, as I'm sure you'll agree. So we're heading back south now, down towards Cardiff. Once again, just giving you a look at the aircraft from as many angles as possible. And this time I think I was achieving something like 40 to 50 frames per second with the photo scenery on. Yeah, flyby. Followed by another flyby, I think. Here we are, yeah. So here you can see the ILS approacher. The one to the left is the 30, the one to the right is 12. I programmed in 301, so hopefully what will happen as we come over Charlie Delta Foxtrot, it'll just turn on to the ILS procedure. I hope. I always hope. This is new aircraft, and probably only the third or fourth time I've flown it with flight planning. So let's have a look, see what happens here.
Let's see.
Yeah, and the voice you could hear there was Emma, who burst in on my recording earlier. So I've tried to edit out all the speech from when I recorded earlier, and here we go. We're turning on to the procedure, which is really nice. Now I will admit, and I'm going to tell you this up front, I will admit that as we came towards the turn point, it just missed part of the procedure, and I ended up having to hand fly it. And you can see me here, I'm just turning it back to capture the localizer.
Approaching waypoint.
For one reason or another, it missed the complete teardrop, and I had to hand fly it around. But it's a GA aircraft, and I suppose that's what it's all about. And as you can see, I'm just coming along the coast here towards Cardiff Airport, having completed that teardrop turn manually. And I'm actually flying manually now. It is a beautiful aircraft to fly. It's rock solid. It doesn't move about too much. When it's on autopilot, you know, it'll go through a bit of heavy weather, and it'll just take it in its stride. It's absolutely superb. So we continue along the coast here now. Cardiff Bay is off to my right there. I'm a little bit off course and coming at the centre line in a wrong angle, but here we are. We're on a short final, just about to come over the cliff. Not forgetting that Cardiff Airport has an elevation of 220 feet, so you know it's generally above the fog. It's generally above the fog, unlike Bristol. And on a clear morning like this morning, it's absolutely beautiful. Here we are, short final to land.
No, don't worry about it.
You can still hear Emma in the background there.
30, 20.
Version 3 is going to be the best ever.
And
10.
you even get a call out. Emma and I, when I was recording the film first, Emma and I were talking on TeamSpeak, and I didn't realise it was actually recording her side of the conversation. When she talks about version 3 there, she was talking about Manchester Airport. So her new Manchester Airport version 3 will be quite breathtaking when it's completed. Anyway, that's what that was about, just so you understand. Well, here we are, back at General Aviation. And what I'm going to do on the end of the film is I'm going to go through the startup procedure a bit slower, because I know that some of you were probably thinking, wow, that was fast. We didn't understand a word of that. So I'm going to go through it a bit slower, and I'll do it to camera. I'll try and do it to camera, because I'm going to be reading as well. So there we are, back at Cardiff. Pretty cool, huh? So let's go through a cold and dark, as I said I would, and I'll do it a lot slower. So on the panel switch, you need to turn on BAT 1 and BAT 2, and you'll see and hear the aircraft come alive. All the panels will light up, etc. Switch on the strobe lights with the strobe button, and if you want to get rid of the yoke and move it out of the way, just click on the yoke central column and it will go away. On the fuel selector, now you can either select left fuel pump or right fuel pump. The fuel selector is on the central console. I've always used the left. It doesn't seem to matter that much. At this point, press and hold the start button on the switch panel, and on the EIS on the PFD, observe NG. When NG has reached 10%, press the igniter on the switch panel. Move the fuel conditioning lever, red lever on the throttle quadrant, to ground idle position. Move the condition lever forward to idle position, and then press the starter gen button on the switch panel to activate the generators. Press the avionics button on the switch panel to activate the avionics, and the MFD will come alive. Press the autopilot master switch and the trim master switch on the switch panel. Press the press air switch to activate automatic pressure control, and then press fuel auto select switch to activate automatic fuel tank selection, and the aircraft will toggle fuel tanks each 15 nautical miles, so making sure that you've got fuel. And there you go, that is it. I think we got that right. So press back 1, press back 2, strobe light on, left fuel pump, press and hold the start button on the switch panel, and as everything comes up to speed, you press the igniter, make sure the condition lever is idle, move the condition lever forward to idle position, start a generator, avionics, autopilot and trim, pressure air and fuel auto select. And there you have it, as simple as that. This is the simple procedure for starting up the aircraft, and if you look at the full manual, it gets a lot more complex than that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.